Good morning, everyone. Today is training day. Today, we are going to learn about supervisory styles and how to take charge of it. On today, we have issues that are involved in supervision that need to be discussed, being that you guys are coming in new and there are new ways there's new ways and several ways that we go about uh, working with teachers. And the best way to do that is to go through the different stages and the processes that are related to supervision matters. So let's get off by talking about those three issues, which are diagnosis. And a diagnosis is what is effective and what is ineffective, what's working and what's not working. So you're pretty much put in a situation where you're maybe working with a particular teacher, and during those observations and the feedback that you give that teacher, you kind of get a head start on what it is you see that that teacher is not being successful with, and also looking at data to give you that diagnosis as well on what it is that the teacher needs to improve in order for the class to move as a whole, and as the teacher to plan effectively. Okay, so the next one is prescription. So, depending on the situation, the prescription takes a course of direction to improve and maintain teaching behavior. The prescription works together with the question, what must or could change? Generally, highly effective teachers with a strong sense of commitment, they tend to develop their own prescription change. Pretty much teachers who's your veterans that normally been in it for a while, that are good teachers, they tend to come up with their own choice of review as far as looking at the data and figuring out what it is that I have to do as this teacher to move my class to the next level. When you think about the diagnosis, it's pretty much those novice teachers that are coming into the school, and they really don't have a background of what it is as that teacher I need to know in order for me to be effective in the classroom. So that's where we, as those APs and those principals, come in and we give that support to those novice teachers to make sure that we're guiding them in the right direction. But your prescription is pretty much, you have those particular teachers that have been teaching a while and pretty much can kind of pinpoint what those issues are and what it is they need to work on in order to grow those students. Um, there are timelines that take place. And with those timelines, there's checkpoints that are established to review teaching behavior changes and are with professional development opportunities, which will be completed. Once improvements are considered, you will need to ask yourself how much time is sufficient for changes and improvements to occur. So you have to give yourself, well, not yourself, but those teachers that you're working with, a time frame for them to establish a way of fixing those errors of correction, and also getting back in that classroom with that teacher to assist and make sure that whatever it is that they looked over and found insufficient, that they have now come up with a plan to derive that instruction into the right way. So it's very important as principals that we give that constant support and also go in and not make teachers feel too comfortable, but comfortable enough to where they'll allow us to come in and actually see what they're doing and what it is we have to do to assist them. And if they can feel a little comfortable about having us in the room, then I think as APs, I'm not saying our job will become easier, but our job will be a little bit at ease when it comes to those observations, because now you've developed that relationship with those teachers, and they'll allow you to come in and show them strategies and give them the help they need. It's the same as being an instructional coach. As an instructional coach, you have to meet with teachers. You have to de- develop a relationship and a rapport with those teachers, as well as students and parents at some point. As you develop that, uh, the teacher feels more open enough to talk about the deficiencies that they're finding in their own instruction and what it is that they need help with. And they tend to want to talk and ask you, well, what is it that I need to do to be successful at this point? Okay. Um, with those timelines, um, there's areas and lines of time to improve. So you have your longer time to improve, and then you have versus the shorter time to improve. So with the longer time to improve, you have term or continuing contract teachers. Um, and then versus the shorter time would be the probationary contract teachers. With the longer time to improve, you have multiple years of experience. This is pretty much your veteran teachers versus new to teaching. So that's the shorter time to improve. Also, the history of good evaluations. You have your veteran teachers that have been in it for a while. So a lot of them have the experience and they have evaluations that are good. And so they have that background knowledge of what needs to take place in their classrooms. And the shorter time to improve would be no evaluations or consistently weak evaluations. So this is where we, as those APs and principals, we go in and we support as much as we can to assist those teachers the best way possible. When we talk about longer time to improve, minor remedial problems. So a teacher that has been teaching for a long time pretty much have taught different classes and pretty much understand that there isn't, I mean, from my own opinion, I don't feel there's a one size fit all to teaching. Each class you get has different issues and different problems that needs to be tackled along the way. So as a veteran teacher myself, I wouldn't necessarily go in thinking that what I did last year will work this year. Pretty much looking at the data and the statistics of where those student was a year previously to now, or even a year prior to that, kind of guide my instruction of where I need to be in this particular subject matter. So now when you think about short time to improve, which are those novice teachers, you have serious irremediable problems. So pretty much these are your teachers that didn't have the experience of working with students a long period of time to pretty much understand where is it I have to look or what is it I need to look at in order to be effective in this particular subject area. Um, Next would be the complex changes in teacher behavior. Um, with that, you have a lot of your veteran teachers that feel that they know it all. They don't really need the support of a lot of us coming in to work with them and to give them guidance along the way. As a veteran teacher myself, I have to say there's been a few times where I didn't want someone to assist me. But one thing I had to kind of open myself up to is hearing other people out and also getting some new ideas because education is ever evolving. So it's nonstop. So the learning never stops. So being that veteran teacher, we kind of feel as if we don't need someone to come in and show us how to do this and show us how to do that. But for the most part, we have to think of it as it's not just us. What we're doing is for the sake of the kids that we service and everyone involved in that learning process. When we take in consideration the short time to improve, we talk about simple changes in teacher behavior. So a lot of times you have your new teachers. They come in, they're full of energy. They want to learn new things. And then I have to say, just in my experiences, you have some that come in with the attitude that I got this. I really don't need your support. But, our job as principals and APs are to go in and provide support as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it's not about them, it's about the kids that we service. And when I say it's not about them, meaning that it's not about them in a certain light, as if to say, let's not take this personal. It's more of working with the students that we service and making sure that they get the best instruction possible. So my job is to come in here and assist you. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about who controls these three issues. Okay, so as you become an administrator, it is important for you to understand the supervisor teacher relationship. It is also imperative for you to know exactly who makes the decisions and who decides what is effective and what is ineffective. Who will decide what will change, which is the prescription, and when will the changes occur? Okay? You will need to ask yourself, will you be the decision maker or will the teacher be the decision maker? Will you and the teacher share decision making? Okay? Um, Pretty much all of this is very important when you talk about who's making the decisions and whether or not you and the teacher will make those decisions. I feel that strongly based on the rapport that you have with that teacher allows a lot to open up and become uh, what it needs to be in order to give the best instruction to the students. Learning teachers and knowing them, knowing their concerns, and just showing that we do care, I think will give a lot into how well our teachers perform on a daily basis, because they know that they have that overall support from administration down to teachers. So it's very vital that we make it known that we're here to assist and not to hurt. Um, there are three supervisory styles that consist of collaborative, non directive, and directive. And each style supports different levels of supervisory control and of the three decisions. So let's talk about the directive supervision. So, with directive supervision is used when either the faculty member is very new and needs more directive guidance, or when the faculty member is struggling and needs close monitoring and or guidance. Okay, so in directive, it can go both ways. You're either dealing with a teacher that's been around and just having some issues with becoming their own in the craft and need that extra guidance to push. And then you have your novice teachers that are coming in that have no clue of where to start and how to begin. And this is where we come in and we assist with that. When we talk about non-directive supervision, we talk about supervision that would probably be the most appropriate for many new faculty members, at least for their first year or two at the school. Once they gather confidence in their teaching, scholarship, and service, they will become more and more self-directed and will subsequently need less supervision. So it's almost like a baby taking new steps. It takes time. As they learn along the way, they build that confidence level to where they don't no longer need someone to be with them hand in hand. And last, we talk about collaborative supervision. And with collaborative supervision, it is an excellent mode for the majority of non-tenured faculty. And with collaborative is where we all come together on what we feel is needed for students. And I feel with me, for the most part, as working as an instructional coach, um, collaborative supervision is one that I want to do. I want to hear insight from teachers as well as they hear insight from me. So working together to solve problems and coming up with ways to work with kids better is something that I feel that I like the most. Everyone